All right, everybody, we are back again for another episode of the Coach's Compass. Now, I know what episode this is. It's episode 1 of season 5. Can't believe that we're already here. Now, remember, hit that like, subscribe, comment button down below so we continue to have this thing grow, continue to bring on cool guests from all across the world. Now, I've got an OG, one of the former coaches from season 1 of the Coach's Compass, back with us again. It's Coach Malorie, who has gone from TCU to UNC to Baylor to NC State, now to Auburn. My goodness, it sounds like us football players, us journeymen that have been all over the world. Coach, thank you and welcome back to the Coach's Compass.
Thanks for having me. I'm honored. I didn't know it was season 5, episode 1. We have come a long way.
A long, long way. I can't believe I've come this far in recording, but last time we talked, you were at Baylor. Then in between there, you went to NC State, and now you're at Auburn. What's that transition been like, and how's it felt to kind of like be moving all around the place?
Yeah, I think last time we talked, I kind of hinted at that maybe I had something up my sleeve. And I think NC State was up that sleeve because, I made that move because it was soccer only. And I think getting into this field, that was my end goal. I have a love and a passion for the game of soccer. This role that I'm in right now was my ideal situation to be in, where I'm only working with soccer. So that was a stepping stone I needed to take going to NC State, working only with soccer, getting experience working with 2 great head coaches that have different philosophies on the game. That's been an important piece of molding my philosophy when it comes to performance training for soccer athletes. But it's been exciting. I've been fortunate enough to work a lot of different places and learn from a variety and vast group of people, and not only in performance training, but across the athletic medicine, dietetics, sports psych, and coaching tree. So now I'm at Auburn, and I have zero intentions of going anywhere anytime soon.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, that's amazing. It's been crazy to follow your journey, and it's been awesome to see what you've been able to accomplish and everything, even if it's just seeing the little bits and pieces that we see on social media. And also, happy belated birthday. You're getting closer and closer to 30. All right, it's okay. 30 isn't that bad. I'm on the other side.
2 more years.
Yeah, I'm on the other side of 30, so it's okay. 30 isn't that bad. You just have a little bit more money to make stupider decisions, so it's okay. But if you look at your coaching style right now, all the places that you've been over, right? What would be the brand slogan, and would you buy into your own coaching how it is now?
I hope I'd buy into my own coaching, but I would say brand slogan, relentless standards, relentless support. And that's just who I am through and through. I coach hard, I'm loud, and I'm extremely demanding. And the athletes that I've worked with and currently work with know I'm gonna challenge them, have extremely high expectations, because I have those same expectations for myself. And at the end of the day, though, I'm gonna love people, and I'm gonna love them really well. That my athletes I work with know, in the weight room, on the field, we're gonna work hard. I'm gonna get on them, and sometimes I'm gonna have to be the bad guy or seem like the bad guy. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna sit with them in their wins, and I'm gonna sit with them in their losses and support them as a human being. Now, would I buy into that? 100%, because as a coach, I believe I can coach hard and love harder. And I think that's the most important part of my job, is loving people and supporting them through not just sport, but through all the other avenues of life and domains and different seasons.
I can fully agree with you, because I also met one of your former athletes this past weekend from TCU, which was one of your first stops.
Oh boy. What?
She was a goalkeeper, and she said amazing things about you. She said that the reason they bought into what you guys did or what you were doing so much is because you're also in the trenches with them. So everything you were telling them to do, you also have participated in it as well. So I want to say kudos to you, and one of your former athletes came on and gave you great praise. So keep doing what you're doing. But what's one truth in the S&C world that most coaches aren't ready to hear yet?
We aren't the most important person in the room.
Well, say that a little bit louder for them.
We are not the most important person in the room. We never have been, and we never will be. And that's okay. But I think that's a hard pill to swallow, and that's a pill that I didn't swallow at first. And there's been moments through my career and through this growing process where I thought I was more important than I really am. Right, I do think my role is vital in supporting the student athlete, but that's exactly what my role is. It's a support staff role. I'm here to support the development, the health, and more importantly, the availability of student athletes. The most important role in the room is our coaching staff and their ability to recruit. Right? You have to be able to recruit athletes who fit the mold of your program and your playing style. Someone who has the right personality and is coachable. And then you hope and pray that the coaching staff can come together to help these athletes mold and mesh together on the field and complete, right, in my space, soccer actions and be great soccer players. I always tell our coaches, I think one point of contact for us, it's been about conditioning. Like, I can make our athletes super fit, quote unquote, aerobically, but if they're not good soccer players and they can't pass the ball to the correct foot or make overlapping runs and scan the field and have an IQ of the game that's high, it doesn't matter how fit, how strong, or how fast they are. So you need a gifted group. And so shout out to coaches who recruit, and shout out to their mom and dads who have gifted them with great genes, I guess. So I think my role is important. Our coach here at Auburn would say, like, I was his most important hire, and I always counter him on that. No, like, you are Auburn Soccer's most important hire. Your coaching staff who assists you and recruits these girls, and the kids are the most important hire. You have to be selling these kids on Auburn soccer day in and day out, and what this program is trying to cultivate, to develop young people as soccer players and people and get them to buy in. That's the most important hire every single day. We got to sell these kids on what we're coaching them on to get them to buy in. I could be the greatest strength coach in the country, but if the kid doesn't buy into me, are they going to go home and do the summer packet? Are they going to do the conditioning and give their best effort? So
No.
it's a hard pill to swallow, but we're important, but we're not the most important. And we fall pretty low on the totem pole.
How hard, though, was it for you to realize that you're not the most important? Because I think that's a hard thing in our industry because it's so ego-driven, right? Is everyone's trying to be the best strength and conditioning coach out there in the world, but forgets that we're just a piece of the puzzle that needs to be placed in there and fit in the right puzzle. Not every piece fits with every puzzle, right? So how hard was it to drop your ego and realize that, hey, I'm an important piece, but not the most important piece?
That was hard for me, right? Because I hold myself to a high standard. Like, of course, I think highly of myself because I bust my butt every single day and work hard. And I want to change the narrative around college soccer and really just soccer strength and conditioning, what that looks like. And I'm on this exploration to do that truthfully. So I find value in my role. But I think now I'm working alongside of people that I think extremely highly of as coaches and as in other support staff roles. And I see the bigger picture. Before, I didn't see the bigger picture, and I was super naive and young. And I think I've been surrounded by people who are much more tenured than I, and intelligent and disciplines and emotional clarity, that I've learned a lot from them. But it's a building process, it's a growing process, and I hope everyone gets to that point eventually.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge part about when you first get into this strength and conditioning industry, even when you're on the college side, professional side, private sector side. But if you look back into your first year, what kind of surprised you about being a strength and conditioning coach when you went full time? And as you're bringing in newer coaches, interns, GAs, the rookie coaches into this field, how are you helping them walk through it? And what advice are you giving them?
Yeah, I always say, as a young coach serving as an intern, a GA, or even in part-time, because I've done all three of those, right? You're kind of stretched a mile wide and you go about an inch deep. So as an intern, you're assisting with all of these teams. You're not writing training programs. You're just showing up on the floor, setting up, coaching. Easy peasy. As a GA, depending on where you're at TCU, for example, I had programming responsibility for 2 teams, soccer, cross country, and I just showed up and coached football every day. I interacted with the coaching staff on both soccer, cross country, athletic med, but that was about it. It was very surface level. And then same thing at UNC in my part-time role. Then I got to Baylor, my first full-time role, and it was like, there's so much more to this job than programming and being on the floor coaching. I have to be able to communicate effectively with a head coach, assistant coaches, athletic medicine, sports psych, nutrition, my boss of the department, my fellow coworkers, I also need to be able to coach and implement training, adjust on the fly. There was just so many more elements of the job that are outside of coaching and writing training programs. I would say now, writing a training program and being on the floor in the weight room coaching takes up the least amount of my time on a weekly, monthly, annual basis. My role, I spend way more time on the soccer field, warming the team up, tracking catapult data live, sending reports, sitting in meetings with coaches regarding practice planning. I meet with our athletic trainer every day, whether that's just 10 minutes me popping in or we end up in a long conversation. I spend more time in our training room in season than probably my office. And then departmentally, there's tasks now as a full-time employee on a strength conditioning or sports performance staff that I have to move the needle forward for the department. It's not just about me and my teams anymore, like it is as a GA. You have the least amount of responsibilities there. So that was the biggest thing. And it's ever growing. Right now, instead of going a mile wide, I'm in an inch deep. I'm like an inch wide and a mile deep with 27 young women. That's how I view it, right? It may seem like, oh, Malorie only has women's soccer at Auburn. What a blessing. Well, Joe Schmo has 8 teams at whatever school, but he can only be in the weight room with them. He can't go to practice, do all these things. It seems like Joe has way more responsibility. Well, I'm here overanalyzing everything about 27 athletes, and my coach expects me to be at everything because all I have to worry about is women's soccer. So
That's a lot. I mean, and you're talking about like, I mean, even if you do get to the professional level, there's still like a level of, responsibility that you have to the human and who they are, right? Because when it comes down to being a strength and conditioning coach, you don't only just hear about, what they're improving on the field or what they're doing great at in the weight room. You hear pretty much about their whole lives, right? That's a lot of things that you got to balance in there. And also yourself, you talk about your own and all this time that you're spending, at the facilities, at the practice field, dealing with these different meetings and these different people that you're talking to. How do you deal with setting boundaries to deal with your own personal life and not get burnt out of where you're at now? I mean, I know that everybody wants to say that, we love what we do and it won't ever be a job, but there is a point that you come to that you're like, man, you look around and you see what everybody else is doing and you're like, hey, I want to go travel sometime. Hey, I want to go for this holiday and do this, but I can't. Right. So how do you handle that?
1, it is a job. 2, I continue to wrestle with it. This is just, now I'm just word vomiting here. We're interviewing for open positions on our staff, and yesterday in the interview process, or multiple times, we're interviewing younger coaches for one of the roles. And they're like, I don't care about the pay. Like, I just want to coach. No. You have to care about the pay because you have to put a roof over your head. And one day, yes, you're young. You want to have a family and a wife and kids and be able to provide for yourself and other people and experience things, right? So off topic a little bit, but on topic.
No, that's fully on topic.
But kind of just share my own journey, right, of this kind of burnout, you want so to say. I would say I was on the edge of burnout really early in my career. I go back to, I can think of exact days and exact moments and the exact emotions I was feeling. I had been at Baylor for 8 months, my first full-time job. It was the first soccer season, so the first fall with women's soccer. I was also assisting with softball and acrobatics and tumbling at the time. So I'm in my first full season. Stakes are high, brand new head coach, a lot going on. We're all figuring each other out still. Assisting with softball, we started at 6 a.m. So my day is starting at 5 a.m., getting into the building 4 times a week. And then I'd have soccer practice every day with lifts. And at the time we had like 8 kids rehabbing injuries. There was a lot going on. And then in the evening, I assisted with acrobatics and tumbling 3 times a week. That would wrap up around 7 p.m. So I'm for sure at work till 7 p.m. 3 times a week, where my day starts at 5. Plus add soccer games. Those are later in the evening, typically starting at 7. Travel, and just being a first full-time coach. I remember there was a day I was leaving soccer practice to drive over to the weight room for acro and tumbling, and I had a full-on anxiety attack. I called my mom, like hyperventilating in the car, and I pull myself together. I'm like, I just gotta push through. I go in the bathroom, throw water on my face, like try to make, like my face is like bright red, and My friends at the time, they worked at Baylor, made the right people aware of how much I was struggling every single day of just like my energy, and I was feeling burnout, and they let my boss know. We sat down and had a conversation. In that moment, I was met with so much grace and so much support and so much love, right? My boss and I had a real conversation and got to share how I was feeling, and it was just made apparent of like really how much time I was spending at work. And I got to be my own advocate for myself, and my role was adjusted some so that I wasn't spending 12 plus hour days at work, right? But I had to sit back and I reflect on this time a lot because I was miserable, but I think I contributed to how miserable I was because I'm a yes person. I want to support to the highest level, and I want to do everything. I want to be all involved. Like, you need me, I'm going to be there. If it's going to best support the program and the student athletes. So where I've had to shift so that, right? Because I'm like, thank God I made it out that time because I thought I was not going to make it out. I'm still a yes person, but it's shifted. It's like, yes, but yes, I can get that done, but maybe it's going to take a few days. Yes, but which of these things that you're wanting me to complete is most important? Right? Because coaches will throw a ton of different ideas and things at you that right now for them seems so important, but in 2 days it's no longer important. But if you poured all this time into it, kind of wasted time. So I would say my playbook's simple. I'm still a yes person, but a yes but person. And I think this is where working for the right people comes into play. I have a
that's
boss
huge.
I have a boss that values family and time away from work and not being married to the job or guarding your desk. And that's changed everything for me. I mean, I had a great boss at Baylor as well. Don't get me wrong, but I just have a lot more autonomy now. And I myself have set boundaries where before I had not set boundaries for myself. And so I played into my own burnout. So I always challenge people when they talk about, oh, so much work, I'm getting burnt out. Okay, take a look in the mirror. Are you doing it to yourself, or like what influence are you playing on it, and where can you make changes in your life?
Yeah, I mean, that's always hard for, the newer coaches when they come into this is wanting to say yes to everything. And like you said, you're interviewing people that are saying that pay isn't everything. At the end of the day, like, how are you going to take care of yourself? Like, what are you going to do like outside of this? Like, if you're not making any money, like, how are you going to have money to move to the next place if you're not doing any, like making any money right now? So I think that's really hard for a lot of those newer coaches to figure out how to balance, asking for too much or not asking for enough. And I think you've kind of hit it on the head and you've kind of figured it out now so far as setting those boundaries and knowing what to say yes to, but also giving incentives on the other side when you do get it done. Now you've moved around to a lot of different places. You've been a lot in a short period of time too, right? Out of all of those, which one has been your favorite city and which one do you think has shaped you the most?
Oh gosh, favorite city? I have two answers. I'm a Texas girly. I'm not from Texas. I'm from Indiana, but I claim Texas. So much so I would say Fort Worth. No hit on Waco, but there's just more to do in
Waco
the DMV.
sucks. Waco sucks. You
I
can't
had
fool
a great
me.
time there. Family in both Austin and Dallas, so Waco is a great like middle spot, and I have a lot of friends in both places. But there's just something about like DFW that I love and holds a special place in my heart. And then Raleigh, I loved being at NC State and in Raleigh. That was a really hard move for me to make because personally, that has been my favorite place to be, and I found community and friends the quickest. But I knew I needed to make the move to Auburn professionally. So personally, those are my favorite places. But when I think of where I've experienced the most growth, I don't think it's a place, right? It's not just about the place, it's about the people at the place. And so my answer would be Baylor. While, yes, I've spent the most time there, so maybe that's where people are like, oh, yeah, clearly you spend the most time at Baylor. That's where you're going to maybe experience the most growth. But I find myself reflecting on how grateful I am to have gotten my first full-time job at Baylor under the direction of director there, Chris Roof. Coach Roof is so steady and intentional. And when I got to Baylor, I was the complete opposite. Every day was like I got to work and I strapped in for that wild roller coaster ride. And now when I find myself handling things with more emotional control and clarity, I can't help to think back to working alongside of him and learning from him through that process. Without him, I'd probably still be a hot mess, jumping off walls and like crying, because I think I spent so many days crying in his office just because as a young coach, you're just figuring out life and you're just figuring out how to navigate hard conversations with people in difficult situations. And I'm so thankful he just let me be myself. He opened his door for me to be 100% vulnerable and met me where I was at. And sometimes that meant like tough love. Like he was going to call me higher and hold me to a higher standard. And I wasn't always happy walking out of his office or conversations I had with him, but I'm thankful for those. And other times he just let me be me. And I'm so grateful for that as well. Yeah, so that's definitely where I've grown the most. And I think who has played the most influential role on just who I am and how I carry myself now. I'm still going to be, right? He's super steady and I'm still a little crazy sometimes. But in the moments that need steady, I learned from him.
You gotta have the ups and downs, right? You gotta have the balance of both, right? I'll apologize to everybody in the Baylor Waco area. I only spent 3 hours there, and there wasn't that much to see there. All right, so that's all I can say. That's all I know about it. Fort Worth, yes, I would choose Fort Worth over going to Waco. Raleigh, I don't know, because I went to school in Charlotte, so I would choose Charlotte over Raleigh. But hey, that's just me, and liking a little bit of a rivalry there. But I do agree with you with everything with the growth process. Baylor was definitely one of the places I think you learned the most, because I'm just seeing all your work come to fruition and doing all the stuff that you're doing. Now, before we get out of here, I'm going to give you 5 questions. It's a lightning round, right? We're bringing it back that we did for season 1, but this time a little bit different.
I don't remember this part.
Yeah, here we go. Are you ready?
I guess.
All right, here we go. Best advice you've ever received, 1 sentence only.
Fearlessly authentic. Someone told me that. It's in my Instagram bio. I live by it every day.
IG bio right there. What's a coaching cliche you secretly hate? Coffee order or energy drink of choice?
Americano. No cream or sugar.
Okay. Most underrated recovery tool right now?
Sleep.
Pre-game hype song or go-to workout track? What is it?
Probably Lotto.
And that's it. Boy. Next you're going to say Glorilla and Coach, thank you.
Those really tough days. Some days I do be getting on the Stairmaster and I'm just like, I'm her. Okay?
Yeah, Glow. No, Coach, I appreciate you so much. It's always awesome to catch up with a former guest and see everything that you've been able to accomplish. I want to say thank you so much for your time. I know you got such a busy day, especially in preseason right now, but thank you so much for taking time out today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course, and we're out.